Hello, and welcome to Tower3D Pro by a company called FeelThere. So, Tower3D Pro is an air traffic control simulator where you play the position of a tower controller. That means that you are responsible for clearing approaching planes for landing, clearing departing planes for takeoff, and handling the movement of all aircraft when they are on the ground. Now, before I continue, I have to mention a little disclaimer. I have received a copy of this game for free. FeelThere have found my channel, they saw that I do aviation videos, and asked if I would be interested in covering Tower3D Pro, so here I am. Now, while I'm not getting paid to make this video, I could earn some money as an affiliate of FeelThere, but I'll explain that towards the end of the video. Anyway, let's crack on with this game. So what you can see on your screen just now is the first screen that you see when you start Tower3D Pro. So I've got this installed through Steam. The Steam download was actually very small. It was only about 180 megabytes, so it was a very small small download and very quick install there. But yeah, because of that, the game is quite sort of simplistic, kind of basic in a way. The main kind of gameplay feature is more of like a sandbox mode. So you don't have any kind of career mode, you don't have kind of missions or challenges in this game. It's all kind of just you select an airport, you select the time, you go in and you just play the game for as long as you like. So here on the main menu, on the left, first option we have is airport selection. So we've got 3 airports in the kind of base version of the game here. You've got St. Thomas, LA and Philadelphia. And then we've got 4 DLC airports here. You'll notice they're coloured slightly differently. So, you can select, pardon me, you can select different airports. And what I'll be doing for the first one is I'll go to St. Thomas here. You'll notice also we've got the tutorial option. I'm not going to cover that in this video because it takes a little bit of time. But, you can see as we go through the different airports, we get a different view of each. And I'll talk about that view in a moment. Traffic density is, the sort of the density of the aircraft, how many flights are coming and going. So you can set that between 100 and 50%. For this video, I'll set it down to about 75, just so I'm not being overwhelmed with planes as I'm trying to explain things. At this airport, because it's the smallest of the 3 that you get in the game, you don't get too much traffic anyway. But again, just for the purposes of the video, so I can explain without having too many aircraft kind of demanding things from me. And then at the bottom here we've got the forecast, so that's basically the weather settings. You've got clear, foggy, stormy and random, and then the time you can choose to start anytime within 24 hours there. So I'll set mine for 11 o'clock, so we'll go around about midday, and hopefully hopefully we'll get a few aircraft there. So what you can also see here is, or what you could also do, is you can also choose here. Now, it doesn't say what this option does. You can click on the different runways. I think this is to highlight which runway you want aircraft to land on. So at the moment, we don't know what the wind conditions are. We will once we start the game. So I'm guessing I'm just going to go for runway 10 for the time being. Anyway, the next option, we've got multiplayer here. Again, we've got the kind of airports and all of the regular options there, except for one more option here, which is controllers positions. So multiplayer in this game isn't like multiplayer in other games where you have like a lobby. You can't really bring up like a list of servers and choose to join one. The multiplayer is actually a direct connection between 2 computers here. So you can see here connection setup. So if you're going to be the server, so if you're going to be the one who kind of initiates the game, then you need to do a little bit of kind of network setup on your router and opening up various network ports. So those of you who are tech savvy will probably understand what to do here. Those of you who are not might struggle a little bit. And then here, if you're going to connect to someone who's created a server and who's hosting a game, then you can enter their IP there and join the game through that. Settings menu, again, it's kind of limited, it's kind of basic, there's not many options here. We've got resolution, full screen or windowed mode, render quality, so you've got 3 presets. You can go in and change some of the some of the options here. I don't think it's going to be too intensive a game. I mean, I've got everything maxed out there, and yeah, that should. I mean, that's been running fine. I don't know what frames I've been getting. That said, I did only notice today that when I run this game, my graphics card fans do ramp up very high. So there may be some optimization that could be done with that. Because I was kind of concerned to hear my graphics card fans were speeding up running this game, which doesn't look like it should be too intensive on graphics at all. So maybe just something for the developers to keep an eye on if they watch this video. And anyway, the last option or last menu here we have is statistics. So that just kind of tracks your takeoffs, landings, collected points, penalties. Just ignore that. Just ignore that. Don't look at that. And then we've got various achievements here. So we've got a limited number of achievements for this game as well, and then exit there as well. So let's go over to St. Thomas and let's start a flight and take a look there.
St. Thomas Tower, 765 Fox Tango requesting push and start.
Okay, so just pause the game there. So screen's kind of busy just now. Let me just resize this, and I will explain what we have on the screen just now. So we've basically got the first thing. Let me get rid of all this. So the first thing we can see is we've got the view here. So we are currently sat in the tower, as you would expect, and yeah, this is the world around us. So this is St. Thomas, I would assume, and then of course we've got St. Thomas Airport out in front of us there. So we've got the terminal there, and we can zoom in. That's as far as we can zoom in, and that's as far as we can zoom out. So we can kind of keep an eye on planes as they're moving around, on the airport there. Now, it does look kind of bloomy. I did turn up the bloom in the options there just now. Usually, I think by default it's set to low, and it looks a little bit better than this. So the bloom is a bit high, but there is a low option, so you can kind of dial that down a bit. So there are several methods of interacting with the game. One is by this command panel up here, and the other is through voice activation. Now, I think that voice activation is only available on the Pro version of this game, because there are two versions. You've got Tower3D, and then you've got Tower3D Pro. So I think the voice sort of the voice commands that you can give to the game are only available in the Pro version. I'll confirm that at the end of the video after I've recorded this. So up here you've got the command panel, and you can select different things here. I think you've got pause, you can call the last aircraft, you can take a screenshot, you can set the speed of the game as well. If things are not moving quickly enough for you, you can increase the speed. You can turn on the airport lights with the L there, and then you've got A, D and S, which opens up the 3 additional panels here. So we'll start off with the aiders up here. I'm not sure if this actually is aiders, because my understanding is aiders is Air Data Inertial Reference System, which is the like the gyroscopes that are the gyroscope systems which are on an aircraft. So I'm not sure if aiders is the air traffic control software ground radar system. I don't know, just saying. But this basically gives you a map view, a top-down 2D view of the airport there. So you can see that we've got this aircraft here is currently sat. It's actually down there. I think if I click on it, it should have a look at the aircraft. Maybe because the game's paused, it's not looking towards the aircraft just now. But you can see that when I click on the aircraft, it kind of puts its call sign up here. Now, what we can do is we can issue instructions by clicking on different buttons. So we can give them clearance to pushback, we can tell them what runway to go for, we can tell them to continue taxi, hold position, or follow another aircraft, for example. So if I do that, you can see pushback approved, expect runway, and then we can tell them which runway we want them to take off from. And then you can send a message or just clear that if you've made a mistake. If I bring up the D screen, so this is the D bright, so this gives you a picture of the airspace around an airport. So when planes are coming in to land, you'll see them pop up on this screen. When they're departing, you'll see them there as well. And the dotted line there represents the kind of the localizer path, the approach path for the runway, which you've selected as the runway that you want aircraft to land on, back on the main menu there. And then finally, the S here is the flight strip screen. So unfortunately, there wasn't really too much detail about this in the tutorial here, so I'm not sure what some of this data is. Just from kind of gleaning information, we've got the aircraft's call sign here, the type of aircraft it is. So all of the aircrafts and all of the kind of airlines in this game are all fictional. Although I have seen another YouTuber playing this game with real world call signs and real world airlines, so I'm not sure if there's a mod available, but in the base version of the game everything is kind of fictional. So TRP I believe stands for turboprop. You've got JT1, which is Jet 1, you've got PRP, which I think is prop, so you can kind of get an idea of the size of the plane or by its type. The number beneath that, I'm not sure what that means. The number up here, I believe, is the time that the aircraft was handed over to you. And then the time underneath that is how long you've been handling the aircraft. So that will change to 0002, 0003 as the minutes tick by. And then I believe we've got the kind of origin airport, so where the aircraft started and where it's going to. So it's starting here at St Thomas and it's going to TNCM, wherever that is. And then as you issue instructions, more information pops up here. As I said, there wasn't any detail of that given in the game. That's just information I've kind of gleaned and tried to figure out myself. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this first aircraft and I'm going to issue commands based on the button system up here. And then when we get a second aircraft, then I'll demonstrate the kind of voice commands, the voice control there. So let's go. So if we click on that, actually let me clear that first of all. So if I look away from the aircraft and then click on it, you see the camera view snaps to the aircraft. What I'm actually going to do as well is just look at this a little bit, draw that down. So November 765 Foxtrot Tango. So we'll clear them for pushback. Now we have to look at the winds here. So the winds are coming from a direction of 048 at 2 knots.
St. Thomas Tower, 380 Mike Oscar with you runway 10.
That's okay, so that's an aircraft approaching. So we'll get him in a moment. So 5 Foxtrot Tango, pushback approved, expect runway, and then we'll take them off from runway 10. And then we'll send a message.
Ground, 10 pushback approved. 765 Fox Tango.
If you look closely now, you'll be able to see the aircraft is now being pushed back away from the stand. So with this game, there's kind of procedures. You kind of learn that there's an order to things. So any aircraft that's departing, there's an order. They have to go through several steps before they take off. So 1 is approving them for pushback, 2 is giving them clearance to taxi to a departure runway, and then you have to clear them for takeoff on that runway. And there's various commands that you can give in and around that procedure as well. So we'll just continue playing that just now.
St. Thomas ground, 765 Fox Tango ready to taxi.
So you see he's now called us back saying, okay, we've pushed back, we're ready to taxi. So what I'm going to do is, you can see that if we have a look at the ADERs up here, we've got a kind of a cyan line here. So this is what the computer's automatically calculated for this as its taxi route. Now what I'm going to try and do is, I've not done this before, but what I'm going to try and do is, with the button controls up here, is try and get him to taxi down Bravo, cross at Charlie, and then go down Alpha. So you can see that there. So if we go click on him, and then we tell him to go to runway 10, and then we should be able to tell him to taxi somewhere else. Okay.
Runway 10765 Fox Tango.
That's strange. Okay, I couldn't get him to I couldn't figure out how to select a different taxiway there, but normally at that point you can tell them to taxi down a certain taxiway. So if you look closely now, he's beginning to drive forward. If we look down at the deep rights in the bottom left here, we've got our arrival aircraft is now coming in. So we're not expecting any arrivals, we're not expecting any problems down on the ground, so we'll click on him and we'll go cleared to land.
Runway 10 cleared to land 380 Mike Oscar.
So he's still quite a way away, so each of these range rings I believe represents 5 miles, so he's about maybe 12 miles away from the airport just now. So what I'm going to plan on doing is getting this aircraft on the ground to cross the runway before he lands. Now if we have a look back on our aircraft on the ground, what he's going to do is, you can see the yellow line there, so he's going to go Foxtrot Echo Alpha. Now what he's going to do is, the aircraft are not completely stupid, so they're going to hold short of the runway. So once I see that he's holding short, I'm going to contact him again and tell him to continue taxi. So you can see he stopped there. So November 765 Foxtrot Tango, continue taxi up there in the top.
Continue taxi 765 Fox Tango.
And then he's going to start making a move across the runway there. Slowly but surely he's going to get across there. So it's kind of realistic in the sense that aircraft, take a few seconds to stop. If you tell them to stop taxiing, they take a few seconds to get going after a standing start. So it's kind of realistic in the speed the aircraft move about. So he's now moved across, so he should just continue taxi, he's not going to stop. You can see him now turning down onto Alpha, and then what he's going to do is he's going to taxi all the way past the main terminal, all the way down to the far end of the runway there, and then we're going to get him out for takeoff. Meanwhile, we're going to keep an eye on this aircraft who's coming in. So we can't see him just yet because he's still about 6 miles away. But we'll get that guy in soon enough, and then we'll clear him to taxi to the terminal. Okay, so I just cut the video there, so you can see he's now making his way down to runway 10. If we keep an eye on this guy now, he should just about be in view. There he is. So unfortunately we can't zoom in any closer than this. But there you go. So he's on his way in just now, so he's going to land successfully. In my experience with the game, there's no sort of unexpected events, so you don't get any emergencies popping up, you don't get any kind of go-arounds initiated by the AI. You can tell an aircraft to go around, but the AI doesn't initiate that themselves and throw in that kind of random elements of a gameplay there. So he's come down now. So we'll get this aircraft off the runway and then we'll clear our other flights, our first
St.
flights.
Thomas Tower, Denali 808 requesting push and start.
Right, good. I want to use that aircraft for voice activation, but what I'm going to do is, before I clear this aircraft for pushback, I'm going to get this aircraft off the runway and parked up first. So one of the main kind of dangers in this game is having two aircraft going nose to nose, because you'll notice here, if we have a look at Charlie, you can see it's pretty much a dead end. So if I had an aircraft that was facing outwards,
St. Thomas Tower, Lakes 3504 with you runway 10.
And then another aircraft wanted to come in and park, and they kind of blocked each other. That's one of the main dangers in this aircraft, or in this game rather. And you'll notice also that we have a delete airplane option up here. So if that does happen, if you can't move aircraft, you can delete one of the aircraft and kind of clear the road so the other one can get a move on. Anyway, so this guy is obviously going down. Oops, if I clear that. It's obviously going down there, so let's see if I click on him there. Taxi to ramp. So
taxi to ramp 380 Mike Oscar.
He's going to get a move on now. So this Denali here, Again, as I said, Denali, it's a fictional airline, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use voice activation to tell this guy what to do. So, if you bear with me, first of all I need to get my notes, because I can't remember all of the commands straight off the bat. But this is one of the issues that I have noticed with this game, is sometimes the voice activation takes a few attempts before it starts working, so yeah, let me try this just now. Denali 808, pushback approved, expect runway 10.
Ground, 10 pushback approved. Denali 808.
Oh, okay, well that worked that first time, even though my voice broke just then. So you can see there, as I was talking, you'll see that the voice activation recognises what I'm saying and puts it up here. Now, I did have to train the speech recognition on my computer for it to pick that up properly. But yeah, I got that working after a few bits of training. Now, what I'm also going to do
St. Thomas ground, Denali 808 ready to taxi.
Alright, I'm going to wait a moment here. I'm going to tell this guy, because I don't know what his call sign is, so I'm just going to tell this guy he's cleared for takeoff.
Runway 10 cleared for takeoff 765 Fox Tango.
Now, looking at this Denali here, you can see it's a small aircraft. It's a prop
St. Thomas
there.
Tower, 01 Fox Tango with you runway 10.
So, because it's a small aircraft, it doesn't need as much distance to take off. So what I'm actually going to do is, rather than tell this Denali 808 to go down to the far end of the runway, I'm going to tell him to join the runway kind of midway at Charlie and then take off from there. So, here we go. Denali 808, runway 10 at Charlie.
Runway 10 at Charlie, Denali 808.
And you'll notice now that rather than having the line going down Alpha to the end of the runway, it's now going to taxi to Charlie. And then what the aircraft's going to do is, much like the aircraft before it, it's going to stop short of the runway until I give it clearance to take off. So this aircraft is now rolling. By the time he takes off, this Denali should be at Charlie, so we'll clear the Denali for... Well, we'll tell the Denali to line up and wait. We'll keep him there for a moment just due to wake turbulence off this bigger aircraft. So he's making his way out there. So clear that. So Denali 808, runway 10, line up and wait.
Runway 10 line up and wait, Denali 808.
Okay, if you have a look down at the deep right now, you can see we've got 2 arrivals coming in, and we've also got that 1 departure is now leaving. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not sure if we're going to get this guy's call sign right, but 65 Foxtrot Tango, contact departure. 65 Foxtrot Tango, contact departure. So sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes the voice recognition doesn't work completely, so you can kind of use the buttons up at the top as a backup there. As for Denali here, so I'm just going to hold him for a moment just for wake turbulence, and then I'm going to clear him for takeoff. And then once he's off the runway, I'll clear these 2 aircraft to land. Denali 808, runway 10, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 10 cleared for takeoff, Denali 808.
And the next aircraft I'll speak to will be this Lakes BLA 3504. I'll clear him to land. Lakes 3504, runway 10, clear to land.
Runway 10 cleared to land, Lakes 3504.
And then what we could also do is probably guy behind him, we could probably clear him to land as well. But there you go. So yeah, so that's a very basic example of this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the video here, and we're going to go somewhere a bit more busy so you can really get a sense of what this game is like at a proper airport. Okay, so we're going to go to KLAX, Los Angeles, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to, as you can see here, we've got 4 runways here, so we've got 2 sets of parallel runways. So I'm not sure if this is real world procedure, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to be landing aircraft on runway 24 right and 25 left, so those are the outermost runways. And I'm going to have aircraft taking off on the inner runways there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start and pause immediately once this loads up.
Los Angeles Tower, FeelThere 1544 requesting push and start.
Leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone. Right, so what I'm going to do for this is I'm also going to increase my ADERS screen a little bit so I can see things just a little bit more clearly there. So when you're working at a bigger airport, I found it's helpful to kind of figure out a kind of like a system that you're going to be using, and obviously that will change as the amount of traffic that you're dealing with changes. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be bringing most of my departures are going to be going from 24 left, so this runway here, and 25 right, this runway here. So and all of the arrivals are going to come in on the outer runways. So what I'm thinking of doing is having all of my departures coming down Charlie. So you can see it's going to be pretty simple here. We've got two kind of terminals and sets of aprons here. So every aircraft that comes out of, that's trying to depart out of this area, we'll send them down Charlie, down to runway 25 right. Every aircraft that's coming out of this area, we'll probably send them down Delta, out to 24 left. Now that frees up Bravo for any aircraft which are arriving. So aircraft which are arriving are going to come in, they're going to join hotel, and then they're probably going to cross at either Mike or Papa or Tango, and we can get them onto Bravo and they can move about Bravo as they need to there. And then any aircraft which are coming in on 24 right, they'll come off either Zulu or Alpha Alpha here, and then we just bring them back down Echo and bring them into any of these terminals up here, and then we'll get the odd plane for Sierra here as well. So I've got the traffic set to about 75% again. I'm just going to shut up, try and keep up with everything, and yeah, we'll see how this goes. So unpause. Okay. FeelThere 1544, pushback approved, expect runway 25 right.
Ground, 25 right pushback approved. FeelThere 1544.
Now
Los Angeles Tower, Leslie 942 requesting push and start.
Now you'll notice that as I give taxi commands, you'll notice that the taxiways and the runways start lighting up here, so you can see that the voice recognition is kind of processing each
Los
of the
Angeles
commands
Tower,
as you
Magic
say them.
4807 requesting push and start.
Okay, right, I need to get
Los Angeles Tower, Leslie 550 with you runway 24 right.
Okay, Leslie 942, pushback approved, expect runway 25 right.
Ground, 25 right pushback approved. Leslie 942.
Magic 4807, pushback approved, expect runway 25 right.
Los Angeles ground, FeelThere 1544 ready to taxi. Ground, 25 right pushback approved. Magic 4807.
Another issue I've noticed is sometimes the pushback for some of these aircraft is a bit dodgy. Like they'll take them for like 360 degree spins. They'll kind of do lots of like S-turns with it. This aircraft might do it because it's quite at the end of its taxiway there. But sometimes the pushback is a little bit funny. Like they'll kind of spin the aircraft around and around before they're ready to taxi. Anyway, so the FeelThere is ready to go as we heard the call out, so I'm going to get him moving just now. So keep an eye on taxiway Charlie here. So FeelThere 1544, runway 25 right, taxi via Charlie.
Runway 25 right taxi via Charlie, FeelThere 1544.
And you see how the sign
Los
line
Angeles ground,
there.
Leslie 942 ready to taxi.
So that's this guy here.
Los Angeles ground, Magic 4807 ready to taxi.
Leslie 9042, runway 25 right, taxi via Charlie.
Runway 25 right taxi via Charlie, Leslie 9042.
And also in this game you have to pronounce 9 as Niner. I don't think that's accurate to real world, but that's what you have to do in this game. Magic 4807, runway 25 right, taxi via Charlie.
Runway 25 right taxi via Charlie, Magic 4807.
So we've got 3 departures here, and you'll notice now that I've told them all to go down Charlie, so all of the aircraft are going to be going in the same direction down the same taxiway. We've got this one aircraft coming in here as well. If we check the arrivals, because sometimes it's difficult to see which runway they're going for on the deep rights down here, but if you just check the arrivals, you can see which runway they're due to land on. So it says 24 right there, so I'm going to give this guy clearance to land on 24 right. Leslie 550, runway 24 right, clear to land.
Runway 24 right cleared to land Leslie 550.
The good thing as well with this is that you have to, the voice recognition is a push to talk button, so I can talk to you normally just now and it's not trying to process what I'm saying. If I want to talk to the sim, I have to hold down the left shift button, say what I want to say and then release it, and then the sim will then take that as a command. And that's what that kind of blip, like kind of beeping, blipping sound that you keep hearing is. That's me pressing and releasing the left shift here. So if I press the button now and try and speak, you're going to notice the sim's going to try and freak out when I keep talking normally. So this is an example of me talking normally and the sim isn't picking up a single thing. Never mind. That was a bad example there, but you can see now on the ADOs there we've got 3 aircrafts all heading down towards 25 right. And we've cleared this arrival to land. So yeah, so what I might do is fast forward time a bit, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I've got one more aircraft. I've got this 717, value 717 is just pushing back just now. So I'm going to clear this guy for takeoff straight away. Leslie 9042, runway 25 right, clear for takeoff.
Runway 25 right cleared for takeoff Leslie 9042. Los Angeles ground, value 717 ready to taxi.
Value 717, runway 25 right, taxi via Charlie.
Runway 25 right taxi via Charlie, value 717.
Okay, so again, we've got more aircraft travelling in the same direction down the same taxiway. That's all good. We've got this arrival just about to come in just now, so we'll keep an eye on that. So one thing that I do personally is, if you right click on the aircraft, you can change the position of the kind of call sign there. So what I like to do for the arrivals is I like to move them below the aircraft. So it's kind of like that shows me, right, this aircraft has arrived and is on the ground, whereas these 4 aircraft are on the ground and they're kind of going up into the sky sort of thing. It's just a little kind of hack that I personally use. This guy's now rolling, so we'll move this guy onto the runway now to prepare for takeoff. FeelThere 1544, runway 25 right, line up and wait.
Runway 25 right line up and wait, FeelThere 1544.
Okay, now for this arrival, we can get an idea of where he wants to go, because if we click on him we can see that some of the apron areas light up, so that kind of gives us a sense of where he wants to go. So Leslie 550, taxi to terminal via Zulu Echo.
Taxi to terminal via Zulu Echo Leslie 550.
Perfect. So you can see now that he's, if we click on him, he's gonna figure out where he wants to go. So I told him to go through Zulu Echo, and then you can see we've got the cyan line there is going to take him all the way in there. So you don't have to give a full taxiway like description. If you give them like just a kind of basic, right, go here to here, then they'll kind of figure out which like intersection they need to take, or if they need to take an additional taxiway, they kind of figure out the best route given kind of the routes that you start them off with. Okay, so we'll get this guy going now. FeelThere 1544, runway 25 right, clear for takeoff.
Runway 25 right cleared for takeoff, FeelThere 1544.
Now, if I had the traffic at 100%, it would be so busy right now, but just for the purposes of this video, because I'm trying to explain things as well, I don't want to be overwhelmed by ATC chatter. For this departure, we're going to get rid of him now, so Leslie 9042, contact departure.
Roger, good day.
And you can see he's now, his data tag's disappeared. He's now dealt with. Magic 4807, runway 25 right, line up and wait.
Runway 25 right, line up and wait, Magic 4807.
Okay, now this guy, what he's done is he's stopped because he's just approached the runway. We don't have any aircraft departing or lining up or landing here, so we can clear him to cross this runway. Leslie 550, continue taxi.
Continue taxi, Leslie 550.
And he's going to make his way across that runway now. this arrival, we need to figure out what we're doing with him. So he's on runway 24 right, so I'm going to clear him to land here. FeelThere 2413, runway 24 right, clear to land.
Runway 24 right cleared to land, FeelThere 2413.
Okay, this is nice. This is nice and relaxed just now. As I said, if this was 100% traffic density, it would be so busy right now. There have been times where you just get overwhelmed by ATC chatter. You have to end up speaking over the top of the ATC and AI chatter just to get commands out in a timely fashion. Right, so we'll get this guy moving now. Pardon me, burped just before I sent that message. Magic 4807, runway 25 right, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 25 right cleared for takeoff, Magic 4807.
And then we'll tell this guy to contact departure now, down here. FeelThere 1544, contact departure.
Roger, good day. Los Angeles Tower, FeelThere 40 requesting push and start.
FeelThere 40, pushback approved, expect runway 24.
Negative. FeelThere 40.
And that's another thing, if you make a mistake, sometimes the AI just recognizes that it
Los
has
Angeles
got
Tower,
the information
Leslie 202 requesting push and
it
start.
needs in the right order. So if you make a mistake, you just stop, let the AI kind of recognize, okay, he's told, the controller has told me something I don't understand, or he's given me information
Los
in the
Angeles
wrong
Tower,
order.
Denali 796 requesting push and start.
They won't listen to the
Los
the order,
Angeles
basically.
Tower,
There we go.
FeelThere 25 with you, runway 24 right.
So now it's getting a bit busier, so we're going to start moving these aircraft a bit quicker. So value 717, runway 25 right, line up and wait.
Runway 25 right, line up and value 717.
FeelThere 40, pushback approved, expect runway 25 right.
Ground, 25 right, pushback approved.
Leslie
FeelThere 40.
202, pushback approved, expect runway 25 right.
Ground, 25 right, pushback approved.
So this
Leslie
guy
202.
here, Denali 796, I'm going to hold him for a moment because this aircraft is pushing back, so I don't want two aircraft to push back into each other. So we'll get this FeelThere clear first, and then we'll push back this guy. This guy at the top is going over here, so he's clear, there's no worries up there. We'll get these two guys pushing back at the same time, so we'll get them taxiing at the same time, and then we'll get this guy out here as well. We've got another arrival coming in, but it's fine. I'm gonna end the video in a moment here, so we'll get rid of this.
Los Angeles
magic.
ground, FeelThere 40 ready to taxi.
And then
Los Angeles ground, Leslie 202 ready to taxi.
Magic 4807, contact departure.
Roger, good day.
Okay, so what we're actually going to do is I'm going to leave the video there, and I'm going to do another video probably next week at some point where I take on LAX at 100% density, where, so hopefully you guys have got an idea of how the game works, how you play it, what it's like. And yeah, as I said, next week I'll do a video where I'm not explaining everything, where I'm just going full throttle, 100% density, so you can just get an idea of how intense the game can get. So before I finish, there's a couple more things that I want to mention very quickly. So what are my thoughts on the game? To tell you the truth, I genuinely like it. I think it's a very good representation of being an air traffic controller. However, I do feel that there is a lot of potential for the game to be expanded into something a lot more. If I was going to change the game today, I would like to see the airports, aircraft, and the ground vehicles in a lot more detail. At the moment, I think that the game kind of looks like some 3D models which have been pasted on top of a 2D satellite image. I feel that the quality of all of that could be improved. And I'd also like to see some sort of career mode or challenge or some sort of mission where you have like targets to hit or some sort of results to obtain. I think that would give the game a bit more kind of purpose and give it a bit more kind of diversity to the game rather than just having the single sandbox mode. Anyway, there are a couple of things that I want to mention. There are two versions of the game. You have Tower3D and Tower3D Pro. So the benefits of the Pro version, which are not in the basic game, are the voice recognition feature, the multiplayer feature, and also has multi-monitor support. So those three extra panels that I had on my screen, you can move those panels onto a second monitor and use those to clean up your main kind of primary view out of the tower there. Now, If you are interested in playing Tower 3D or Tower 3D Pro, I would encourage you to purchase the game using the link in the description below. Now, the reason is that I am affiliated with FeelThere, so if you purchase the game using that link, FeelThere will share a little bit of the profits with me in return for giving their game a bit more exposure, and it doesn't cost you any extra. It's just something which will help benefit the channel, and let's face it, any small YouTuber needs all the help they can get nowadays. Regardless, I do enjoy playing this game, and I will definitely be making more videos with this game alongside the FSX tutorials. So for now, thank you all very much for watching, take care out there, and I will catch you all later.